If you're watching, you see it now. If you're listening, you're going to hear it in mere moments. No, Seth Kaiser and Nate Taylor are not back for today's show. Nate is on the mend, on the up and up. All good news there so far as I've heard from our dear friend Nate Taylor of ESPN, and Seth Kaiser is heading back to the homelands in Minnesota, but on the road right now. So good news, as good as can be expected from both of those guys. And lots of people in the comment section wondering as the show was getting ready to begin here. Of course, I know they appreciate all the T's and P's. I appreciate everybody's patience as we navigate what's been kind of an odd week. And I feel like the only way to do it right now, and to offset some of the things that I'm afraid I won't be able to bring to today's edition of Only Weird Games, I once again have Tucker D. Franklin with us here because, Tucker, I just needed to find the biggest Bo Nick superfan that I knew to really set the stage for the... Tucker's looking around his basement. Yeah, Lily? Does Lily like Bo Nicks? Lily! No, she's got good taste too. Do you believe in miracles? You might need to for the Chiefs to win the AFC West for a 10th consecutive year. Those are the stakes for Sunday's game between the Chiefs and Broncos. Tucker, I know that you and I are going to talk more tomorrow. We've been talking this week. It was a good time for a bye in a lot of ways, but now this is a massive, massive week for the Kansas City Chiefs, and based on what I've heard from press conferences so far, it seems like the team is well aware of that fact.
Yeah, I mean, huge game, and I went through this on the KCSN Live. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to... It's starting to be 2. Just because I've got stuff that I want to do with you guys, and I just keep doing it. We talked about this. I think that this is, and I'm going to talk about this with Matt Verderham when we record our podcast later today. I think this is the biggest divisional game that Patrick Mahomes has ever played. And that's kind of saying something in, what is this, year 8 as a starter? Or year 9 in the league?
Yeah,
year 8 as a starter. This is a monumental game. This is a regular season game of importance that we have not really seen before. I think we talked about that a little bit on Tuesday, and just a very interesting overall feel heading into a game against the Broncos, which is very unfamiliar because, a little bit for a while the Chiefs just didn't lose to the Broncos. It just wasn't a thing. It just didn't lose to them. And now the Broncos are firmly in place to win the AFC West if they win this game. And if there's stakes in this game that we haven't seen in the Chiefs-Broncos game in a very long time, basically.
That's absolutely true, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves in the rundown. It's like Nate and Seth are here. I mean, it's
look at us. Look at us.
Look at us accidentally talking about our third topic in the first moments of the show. But the Broncos, if you're wondering, okay, so the Chiefs have won 9 in a row. That's been a long time, 9 years. Okay, that's pre-Mahomes. They've been doing this since before Mahomes got here. The last time someone other than the Chiefs won the AFC West, it was the Denver Broncos, and then they went on to win Super Bowl 50 over the Panthers.
Yeah.
That's how long. Broncos-Panthers, Peyton Cam is how long it's been since a team other than the Kansas City Chiefs have won this division. And look, you know what? Go, Tucker, pull the lever. Let's just talk about what's at stake first. Let's go ahead and throw it all up in the air.
Diving in.
Because this is the thing that does actually have me fired up for this game. And it's what you just mentioned in terms of the stakes attached here. There is a meaningful streak, because getting to double-digit AFC West championships in a row would be an amazing thing to be able to do.
So cool, yeah.
There is an amount of pride from Andy Reid and certainly Patrick Mahomes, who's never not won the AFC West as an NFL football player. There is a stretch of dominance here. There is a level of money in the bank consistency to where you don't need to second guess if the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. You can close your eyes and just say that in preseason from 2016 through last year. The amazing thing about this game, and to your point, they've had big regular season games. They've had games that have impacted their seeding in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes has never been in danger of essentially putting the division out of our minds
Right.
in mid-November. There were some more tumultuous seasons in there. There was a 12-5 a few years ago that, ended up also kind of ending in a disappointing way. So hopefully we're not just looking at a repeat there. Although, again, Mahomes has also never not made the AFC Championship game, which is, I think, the craziest stat that most people don't think about nationally. This is a massive, massive football game. And I'll give you some of the math. There's just like a very, very simple bit of looking at the schedule, looking at the records, and you'll understand what this game means. But I am sort of curious, Tucker, if you have the, I know I have a signed AFC West champions hat somewhere in my closet right now, signed by Matt Castle, because it was, let me scroll back, 2010.
Yeah,
when they went on and then lost the most frustrating game of my life, losing to the Ravens in a game. I don't think Dwayne Bowe got a target. I didn't double check that. That's just in here because, sometimes those formative, traumatic football memories stick with you for a long period of time. But I remember how important that felt back then. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the AFC West, again, it feels like a birthright for the Chiefs, but it's not anymore. That undeniably, that's not the case this year.
It is very... it's a very interesting position that they find themselves in. So I started to dig back into it, as you mentioned, just going back into the Chiefs' lore of the AFC West dominance of like, okay, I just went to the Patrick Mahomes era of like, when was the last time that there was a division, like the division was close? Because the Chiefs in recent years have kind of walked away with the division. Usually, Josh, as you mentioned, when we're talking about the division being out of hand by November, it's the Chiefs on the other side of it of, okay, they're 12, they've already got, 10 wins this deep into the 11 weeks into the season, and only other teams have 4, so they are going to lock it down. This year, I don't know, I just went back to the Mahomes year when we were doing this on the stream, but there was a game against the Chargers where both teams were 9-4. This is a Thursday night football game in, I believe, 2019, I want to say. I got to pull it back up. 2019 Chiefs, both teams finished 12-4 that year. So maybe it was 9-2 going into that game. That was probably the last time the Chiefs played a game where they ended up beating the Chargers. How it went? Yes. Wait, no, that's the 5-11. Okay, I got my year wrong, but there is a game against the Chargers that was probably the last time that Patrick Mahomes played a meaningful division game, and it's been. I mean, there's been a pandemic since then. Right. It was 2018. They lost the game 28-29. That was a game where Darrell Williams caught an 11-yard touchdown pass. Damian Williams had a big day on the ground. Demarcus Robinson caught a touchdown. The very next week after that, this was a Thursday night game. The next week they lost to the Seahawks, if you remember that one. I remembered the Seahawks game more than I remembered this one.
I do remember that Seahawks game. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, both teams were 11-3 heading into this game. Chargers at Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium, Anthony Lynn, the head coach. This is on December the 13th, 2018.
This is Phillip Rivers making a push. This Phillip Rivers' year.
And Phillip Rivers kind of had a day. 26 of 38, 313 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions.
It was Phillip Rivers. Of course he threw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks.
Right. Patrick Mahomes, 24-34, 243, 2 touchdowns. And didn't throw a pick, got sacked twice, and they lost this game. Crazy to think about. But that is the last time that the division has kind of been on the line for the Chiefs. And they ultimately do lose that game right in coming down into the fourth quarter. Mike Williams catches a touchdown pass, 1-yard touchdown pass from Phil Rivers to give them a lead with 4 seconds left to go in the game. They Chiefs ultimately don't get it done, but the Chiefs ultimately win the division. They split with the Chargers that year when it came down to the tiebreakers, AFC record, all that. They end up getting the division in that year. And that was the first year he was a quarterback. And ever since then, it hasn't been close. When you look at just the standings of the division, it's always the Chiefs winning it by multiple games. This is the first time the Chiefs find themselves in the backseat by week 11 now, what it is. They're not in a playoff spot. They are not in striking distance really of the division. Like they have to beat the the Broncos this week, yes, but if they do, it's not like they're in first place. Like, they still have work to do. It's a very weird spot for the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs to be in.
And this is where I can pitch you the optimist's case, while I can also be realistic about it, okay? So the realistic side of this is that, again, if the Chiefs lose this game, we are not in a place to even discuss or think about the AFC West until at least December 14th. Yeah. It'll be a month from today when the Chiefs play their next divisional game, which is the Chargers, on December 14th. They end the year with games against the Broncos and Raiders. So keep that in mind. Even if the Chiefs win against the Broncos this weekend, and if the Chiefs go on a tear against the Colts, Cowboys, Texans, whatever, we'll do some more looking ahead at some point too. But even if they go on a run, you're still going to be biting your fingernails until Christmas Day when you host the Denver Broncos. And for better or for worse, for coal or Christmas presents, I don't know. It feels like coal to me a little bit because we're talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Whatever the result of that game ends up being, that might be your literal hats and t-shirts game. That might be your literal clinching game. I didn't even look to see what the Broncos have next. The Chiefs have the Raiders the next week, and you may just need to handle business to keep your record where it needs to be. The downside is if you lose this game to the Broncos, they go to 9-2 while you fall to 5-5, and the Broncos at worst are going to split the tiebreaker with you.
Right.
If you lose in Denver, this is the price. This is the price of letting Justin Herbert get away from you in week 1. This is the price of a back-breaking turnover against the Eagles. This is the price of Trevor Lawrence and a pick 6 from Patrick Mahomes. And this is the price of those games. Now, in the Bills game, you lose to the Bills in the regular season every time. Like the cost of that is minimal because it's at least it's an AFC contender. Games that got away from you, this is where it comes. You have to pay this bill. You have no margin for error in the division anymore. You must beat the Broncos on Sunday. The good news is that if the Chiefs do beat the Broncos twice and beat the Chargers on December 14th, the math evens out in a blink of an eye. Now, I think I've said this on this show before, but I'm running through it again here because relevancy. Removing non-AFC West games, in fact, I'm even removing the Raiders games from this. Just purely in games where the Chiefs can control the Broncos and Chargers. Yeah. Meaning head-to-head games, Chiefs-Chargers, Chiefs-Broncos. If the Chiefs go 3-0 versus the Broncos and the remaining Chargers game, all 3 of those teams would even out at 4 losses. You would deliver 2 losses to the Broncos and 1 to the Chargers, which would make you all 4 loss teams. And the Chiefs would then be 8-4 in those games because they'd obviously go from 5-4 to 8-4. Mm-hmm. They'd be right there with the Broncos at 8-4. The Chargers would be 7-4, and we got to count their games up again. The way the math ends up trickling out through the rest of this gets convoluted, frankly, because you still have to beat the Colts and the Cowboys and the Texans and all of that. But in terms of the head-to-head divisionals, in terms of those divisional games, the Chiefs can still even the playing field by just sweeping the Broncos and beating the Chargers. If you guarantee me those 3 wins, the AFC West is entirely within their control. Because then now if you simply win out, you've evened things up with the Broncos. You don't even need them to stub their toe again. If you split with the Chargers, you don't even need them to stub their toe again. Or I guess you might at 1 point. I don't think the Broncos or Chargers are running the table. Frankly, I don't know that the Chiefs are running the table either. But that's the weird coin flip of all of this. They are trailing in the division so severely. They have had such a disappointing first half of the year. They have had so many miscues and so many near misses and so many frustrating let it get away from them games.
Yeah.
And if they beat the Broncos on Sunday, they should probably be favored to win the division.
Yeah, I think it takes them over 50% chance to win the division, according to like next gen stats and all like the playoff predictor models.
It's unbelievable.
Like, it's so insane. It's still. I know we've talked about this for weeks that they are sitting outside the playoff picture currently and are betting favorites to win the Super Bowl. That doesn't happen with a lot of teams. I've got the Broncos schedule pulled up here. After this game against the Chiefs, they do have a bye week, so their bye week is a super late bye week. They're one of the last bye weeks before they finish out with Commies, Raiders, Packers, Jags, Chiefs again, and then Chargers. So those are good. That Commanders,
you need the Packers
Raiders
to help you out, I guess. Like that is not murderer's row.
No.
None of the NFL is.
The Jags figure it out. I don't know, but so they don't necessarily have that difficult of a schedule. I mean, they never really did have that difficult of a schedule. What's going to be interesting, and Matt Verderman and I have talked about this. He's hypothesized his idea that he's floated out there, his take that he has put in an incubator and he's ready to bring it out. Right?
Yep.
He told me on Tuesday, and we even talked about it a little bit on the stream on Thursday. If the Chiefs win these next two games, huge if, right? Two very good teams against the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos, good football teams that have won a lot of games this year.
Top
if they
two
win
seeds in the AFC while the Chiefs are out of the playoff picture, I guess
right,
the Patriots are right there.
It's 2012 all over again. If they win these two games, it's probably likely they win out though, Josh, right? Like if they beat both the Colts, they beat both the they shouldn't lose. Let me go pull it up.
Titans on December 21st. You're not afraid? I don't know. Ryan Tannehill unretires. Not that Cam Wart's the problem.
That team
stinks.
Bad.
Super mega. Are they Jets tier or are they super mega ass?
They're close to. They might be ultra super mega ass.
Oh right. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think they got added to the new
I
one,
love that your iterations on the ass list are starting to sound like Pokemon remakes. It's like
little
ultra
bit,
omega ass.
I've got to see. There's gonna end up at the point where I need to find like another tier that's like in between like good and ass. You know, so like that's where kind of ass was born, but it hasn't
forced that yet.
No. So okay, let's say the Chiefs beat the Broncos and the Colts, right? We're playing this out.
And let's say for the sake of the argument,
yeah,
we are now living in a world where they have beaten the Colts and Broncos. Therefore, the vibes have returned. We're not predicting a 6-game winning streak here. We're saying 2 of these games are already won.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay,
100%.
I'm with you.
Then they go after the Colts, short week at Dallas on Thanksgiving. That could be a tricky one. Dallas' offense is good, but their defense can't stop a nosebleed. I feel pretty okay about that one. Then they host the Texans, who don't know how to play offense, but somehow let the Jags. They came back against the Jags. The Jags let them score 26
Sunday night
points.
Game still coming too. Who put that?
Yeah, that's kind of rude. Then the Chargers at noon at home. Then you go to Tennessee at noon, and then Christmas against the Broncos. Week 18 against the Raiders is a win. Just go ahead and pencil that one in there.
Yeah.
Especially
isn't O'Connell going to be back by then? Like we'll just.
Oh, maybe he will.
Something different will happen.
They need something to happen, but
Pete Carroll's going to be coaching North Carolina by then.
They'll swap. They just flip teams. It's like a wife swap, but team swap.
All right, hold on. Okay, hold on now. All right, hold on. We've done a good job so far. We talked a lot of Chiefs Broncos. All right, hold on, everybody.
Yeah.
Who says no? Not North Carolina.
And
not Tom Brady's Raiders.
Right.
Guys. Wife swap. Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. This is a good idea. I would be more afraid of both teams if they traded elderly head coaches.
Yeah.
I would have way more faith in the future of North Carolina football in Pete Carroll's capable hands. And I would be way more nervous about being spied on by the Las Vegas Raiders. Imagine if they brought 2/3 of the brain trust back.
That's a great point. Just need Robert Kraft.
And he's got Drake May and Mike Vrabel now, so he's going to live for another 100 years. Like I just assume that we're just living in Robert Kraft's world.
Yeah, I don't know who does. I think North Carolina probably makes out better in that situation, though, right? Because at least Pete Carroll has the college pedigree and has won a national championship at college level, allegedly.
What I'm thinking now is North Carolina should have tried much harder for Pete Carroll and much less hard for Michael Lombardi.
Yeah.
Just a thought. Sorry, you had such a good idea that I forgot what you were originally talking about, which does tend to be how our conversations go, both in real life and recorded.
Yeah, no, wife swap we might have to tweet that. I might have to tweet that one out there.
Format it like a trade graphic, like a trade deadline
It's
announcement.
the meme of the dude who like offer you a trade.
Oh, perfect.
You know?
Yes.
It's like I just use that one and I
Just
can
use that. Yeah, that's perfect. Just use that. Just tweet who says no. North Carolina receives. Pete Carroll, and we got to throw in an and. We got to freshen up the deal a little bit. I don't know who else the Raiders can. And Ashton Genty had another year of eligibility left, right?
No, I think he was out.
Yeah, all four. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, that wouldn't work. We'll figure it out. But coach swap.
I actually
is like a good idea. I feel like that should be like an ESPN. I feel like that should have been on ESPN2 in like 2008.
Oh yeah.
We were like trying to do some more kind of like experiential kind of reality TV adjacent sports programming. I think you take two struggling high school football programs and you have them, one's. And of course, one of them's got, young Mike McDaniel with his pants pulled up to his knees, and the other one's got a 97-year-old hard ass who looks like like Tom Coughlin with the crusty face, freezer burn, and you just switch those guys around on the programs. I think that's going to be good for the schools. It's going to be good for the kids. It's going to be good for the coaches. It's a good idea.
We are an ideas machine on this podcast.
We are.
You get us together.
We're not a football machine anymore. We've talked about this game so much.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Thursday.
Is we have talked about this matchup for so long.
2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. Friday night swap. Holy cow, Ice Pyro. That's the name of it.
Let's go. We're
shout
done.
out Ice Pyro. Oh, I was gonna see if I
blow the gong.
Okay, here we go.
Hell yeah!
There we go. We got the soundboard into it. I forgot the point I was making
I'm
too.
really sorry. I got too excited.
That's because the Broncos have a bye week next week, I think, is what I was talking about. It is very interesting, though, on the Broncos side of things. Shout out to them. They're winning games. No, I don't know if I'm ready to open up that can of worms yet.
Ooh, okay, good. I can give you the injury report again that we skipped over earlier because we got so hyped to talk about the stakes, and then we got so distracted to talk about the old coaches. Man, who else? I want to send. Only Weird Think Tanks is pretty good.
So good.
Thank you, Rachel. I want to expand on this reality and just right before, like I want to do it for Mike McDaniel. I want to do it for Brian Daboll. I want to swap. I want to be able to see. You can just do it in the AFC East. Well, I'm thinking about the Bills now for some reason. I don't know why. I'm thinking about Daboll going back to the Bills and then McDaniel being there to. I feel like there's room here for a genius idea. Mm-hmm. If for nobody else, do it for Jackson Dart. I mean,
Jackson needs somebody, man. Jackson's hurting.
He needed that to happen 2 weeks ago. It was too late. Okay, so here's what I'm going to go ahead and request now is that because Tucker and I need to use at least, 70% of our brains to keep this show going. I would love to sit here and if we had Seth and Nate, and they don't know this, but this is what usually happens. Sometimes I'll ask one of them a question, and then I'll just sit in silence for several minutes, and I'll think about a bit that I want to do. Yeah. And in this case, I would love to just be like, so, Seth and Nate, what do you guys think about the run game or whatever? And then I would just sit and think until I could come up with, like, okay, who says no? Kellen Moore for Dan Quinn. But that's I don't think that's a great one. I think it fits the vibes.
Yeah, that's a vibe match.
It's not inspired like Pete Carroll for Bill Belichick.
Pete Carroll for Bill Belichick is a damn good one.
And maybe we just started with the correct answer, but if anyone has other coach swaps they'd like to offer in the chat, it can be across leagues, it can be across sports if you want.
Wow.
Do you think the Miami Dolphins could use Ned Yost? Like you can't. Or the Buffalo Bills going to Miami's hands too hot. I just feel like you might need an old toughness coach.
I want to point this out. I need to see who brought this up to me. I think it was on Twitter. It was Joe Jackson or somebody brought this up when Matt and I were talking about Greg Rousseau saying it was too hot. Greg Rousseau went to college at the University of Miami. He went to the U, and he's out here complaining about how it was too hot. What are we doing?
Like, oh, it's the humidity. You went there!
Right.
For school!
Insane.
So the injury report.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, about that.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to swap some of these injuries off the injury report and put some healthy players on here. No, it's mostly pretty okay news for the Chiefs, although I will say that there's a couple of, like, midweek alarm bells and one sort of poor piece of news. Isaiah Pacheco hasn't practiced yet this week, a full DNP Wednesday and today. So I can't imagine that it's likely we see Isaiah Pacheco in this game. Just if he was limited once and full once, I'd say, all right, we're probably good to go here. If he was limited Wednesday, Thursday, and then full tomorrow, I'd think he'd be out there. But it's all still relatively good news because they were like, you saw him on the sideline, like doing the tests on the knee. They'd be like, okay, how are your ligaments? It still seems like a short-term absence for him. This would only be a second missed game. Not an issue where you would go, oh, why not put him on IR because you had a bye week. It's counting by games missed and everything there. So it seems unlikely that we'll see Isaiah Pacheco. Let me ask you this, Tucker. It seems unlikely that we'll see Isaiah Pacheco, which makes it seem likely that we will see Clyde Edwards-Helaire ahead of Elijah Mitchell. Andy Reid talked about that a little bit on Monday, which we might have mentioned on Tuesday's show. Said Clyde knows the pass protections and he's been in the system and everything. We've had Nate's angle on this. We had the little social video going around that I feel like made a lot of those points that we've probably made a few times here now. I don't think I have the capacity to be bothered by it one way or another anymore. I still find it strange, but I'd like for them to be able to run the ball a little bit against the Broncos. It's a much better run defense than the one they faced last time, and Kareem Hunt didn't get a whole lot of work in that game, even though he was pretty effective. If Isaiah Pacheco is presumably out for this game, anything different in the running back room in your mind?
Probably not, unfortunately. I don't know if there is much room for anything else, truthfully, when you talk about it. The Elijah Mitchell thing is very... There's so many different adjectives you can use for it. It's so weird. It's so interesting. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating. It's so confusing. It's so baffling. I find myself confounded a lot of times by why Elijah Mitchell is still on the roster,
right?
Especially when they have needs elsewhere and that he's just taking up a roster spot. Maybe he's great for vibes, right? I know that they're vibes, locker room glue guys. I mean, there's been decades.
Clyde's getting the call up. Like,
right.
Everybody loves Clyde.
Everybody does love Clyde. And that's a part of it too. Like Andy's saying like, yeah, he knows the protections and everything like that. It's like, okay, cool. Wouldn't Elijah Mitchell know how to do that? And like, by the way, I was playing one of those Sporkle games and it was like top 10 rushers from now to 2010. Elijah Mitchell was on there and I was like, whoa, what in the world? Elijah Mitchell sighting. So in the running back room, the only other option that you can really hope for in terms of a breath of fresh air is more Brashard Smith. And like that kind of seems like a fool's errand at this point to be wishing for more Brashard Smith. And that's the thing that you kind of need if you want something else there. I don't know, man. I know we talk a lot about this team in terms of how the Broncos defense, in terms of how good they are against like a pass rushing. Their defensive line is still really good, but they are a third in like rushing offensively on the defensive side of the ball. So they are good at stopping the run as well. They're number 1 in pressure rate, number 2 in overall passing efficiency as well. So I mean, like, they are a very good defensive football team. That has never been a question. Like we knew, obviously, going into, they've got some injuries, obviously, on their side of things that could impact some of that stuff. But I really do think that it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be a Kareem Hunt day. You like it or not, he's good on short yardage. Just get in short yardage. How about that? How about how about be really successful on first and second down, and then you can be short on third down. Like that's good. And then Kareem Hunt can take it from there. How about that? How about that, guys?
That works for me. And I think I agree with everything you said. I'll just double down on the Brashard Smith thing. I think he is an interesting, useful football player whose role will continue to grow. They could have really used somebody who could slash through a defense against Buffalo, and he didn't get an earnest look. So like the Elijah Mitchell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing. If I just tell you, hey, your 3 options for your number 4 running back are Elijah Mitchell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Carson Steele. Who do you like? Rank them 1 to 3. I wouldn't be up in arms for any ranking of those 3 guys. If you say they're all in a similar range, in a similar bucket. Steele's got special teams abilities, and if you want him to do more fullbacky things, whatever, he's still on the practice squad, why I mention him. That's all fine. It's odd, obviously, that the guy on the 53 has been apparently jumped by a guy on the practice squad. But maybe they're gonna game day elevate Clyde 3 times and then try to do the little roster switcheroo and give Clyde an active spot and have Mitchell be the next guy up and get him to the practice squad. I don't know. But to your point, I'm not expecting anything enormously different, and a thin running back room without its number one guy is an even thinner running back room. The other Chiefs injury news here, George Karlaftis has been limited with a thumb injury both days. I think you can see a little bit of a wrap-up on it on some of his pictures at practice. I assume that he'll be ready to go for game day and that he might end up losing a little bit of functionality. I don't know. I don't think you can just fully club that thing up and then just have him thumping dudes with it. But I imagine that there's going to be a very obvious effort to have him play there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was something that happened in the Buffalo game and then didn't get identified until he came back in after the fact, didn't knock him out of that game. I feel like if it was like a bye week injury, we would have probably heard some note of that. So not insanely concerning yet, but worth keeping an eye on because you talk about a thin group that can't afford to get thinner. Defensive end is the next one on that list. They're probably without Pacheco. I just assume that we're going to see Karlaftis do everything he can to be out there.
Yeah, you would anticipate and you would assume, and he's at a position where he can club up if he needs to. I mean, I don't know if it's at a spot where he can like club it up, or if he can just do like the big mitt basically. Right. Either way, I think that if he was trending not to play, I think we would have heard a little bit more about it. Yeah. Looking at this defensive line as a whole, when it comes to just like what that room is, the bodies that they got in there, you're talking about George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Mike Dana, Drew Tranquil. Sorry, I read too far down the list.
I was going to figure out what happened there.
I read too far down the list. Charles Omenihu, Mike Pennell.
Are you reading off like pressures or something? I'm like, because that feels like that's seems plausible.
I'm on Ourlads right now.
Okay, you went down a line too far.
I was rolling down the line.
That happens to the best of us.
Drew Tranquil's in all caps. Maybe that's why. Sorry, let me restart. George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Mike Dana, Charles Omenihu, Mike Pennell, Jerry Tillery, Ashton Gelati. So right now on Ourlads, they have the backup left defensive end for George Karlaftis to being Ashton Gelati. And
his playing time has been pretty consistent for most of this year, which is encouraging.
Yeah, and that would be, let me pull it up real quick. I think that would be if he had to take on a role of what like George is playing wise. I mean, George isn't playing as much as Chris is.
Karlaftis has played 4 more snaps than Chris Jones this year, so it's
okay in total. Yeah,
they are right there.
That would be a lot more. Percentage-wise in a game than what he has been used to, and I don't know if it would be fair to really ask for. Yeah, so his snap percentage right now, he's got 40% of the snaps Gelati has, and that he would probably need to be sitting at about 80 for the game to replace a Karlaftis. Yeah, so he would have to play twice as many snaps as he would be used to. So that's interesting. I already see some couple comments in the chat when you start to talk about the defensive line. Colin Saunders is out there. Colin Saunders did get cut. People are going crazy. The Chiefs Twitterverse is going nuts. Colin Saunders trying to get him back to Kansas City. And I think that it might make a little bit of sense, even though he doesn't play defensive end. There could make a little bit of sense if Colin Saunders did want to come to Kansas City. I don't know.
You know, Tucker, I'd love to talk about that, and I'd love to see him on the field at the 50.
Me too.
Sometime very, very shortly. I don't know if Colin Saunders will be, but I know that you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Whoops, that's my cue, isn't it?
Heather Lewis, broker owner, KC Local Homes, and Emprise Bank has been a great partner for us. They're our partner in Possible. Debbie and I hit it off immediately, and she was one of the first bankers that I would say sat down with me and actually like genuinely cared about my story and where I was coming from and what I was trying to do, not just what kind of loan do you need, how much equity do you have, and she really kind of laid out my options for me and just made the process make sense, and I felt comfortable with it. Start to talk about it and think about it, a building popped up that I wanted, that I could afford, and it was in a great area. And so they really guided me through the SBA. I used the SBA loan to acquire it and really guided me through that process and made it happen. I think that we talk about that a lot, where we wouldn't have a business. We wouldn't have what we have here if we didn't have the clientele that we do. I've always functioned out of a people over profits mentality. The houses sell themselves, right? Like, I'm here to help people and facilitate the transaction for them.
Chiefs Kingdom, what is your favorite touchdown? By now, you guys already know that my favorite touchdown is the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. You want spreads? They got it. Over-unders? DraftKings got you covered. Same-game parlays, regular parlays? DraftKings has it, and you need it. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Tucker, we're going to get to talking about Colin Saunders and some more Chiefs Broncos things, but there's something else just around the corner you want to tell the people about.
Oh, dude, I got to tell people about the KCSN 5th annual Soul of KC holiday raffle. This is the 5th time that we're doing this. Got some great prizes. I don't know if you guys saw the video out there on social that I did, teasing all the prizes that we got. We got some good ones. We got the Chief stuff that you all love, right? You guys all love the Chief stuff. But this year, I mean, we got some special gifts, Josh. We got some special ones.
Somehow I haven't seen this video, which makes me feel not only like a bad KCSN member, makes me feel like a bad friend.
That's crazy. I'm going to undo the repost of the video and then repost it right now so people watching the show can go back and rewatch it.
I'm going to watch it live, full volume while you do that.
Good idea. The Chiefs things that we have for people to enter the raffle. Obviously, all the proceeds of this holiday raffle, if you don't know, I didn't do a really great job phrasing it up. I just kind of assumed that you guys all know the Soul of KC holiday raffle. You purchase tickets, 1 ticket for $10, 5 for $25, 15 for $50, or 50 tickets for $100. That comes with a 1-year paid subscription to KCSN.com, by the way.
Oh, look at that.
Bargain of a deal. You purchase those through December 4th. Plenty of time to get your tickets, but get them now, get them in early. All of those proceeds go towards purchasing presents for Operation Breakthrough with our friends at Dick's House of Sport. We go and we do our holiday shopping spree as well. Lots of fun stuff going on there. You're helping these kids have a great holiday season at Operation Breakthrough. Here are some of the prizes you can win. Rashid Rice signed red jersey. Dwayne Bowe signed red jersey.
What was it, Tucker? Sorry, I was watching your video.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you watching.
I thought a Patrick Mahomes signed mini helmet?
Yeah, and a Rashid Rice signed
mini helmet.
Andy Reid
it's
signed.
Andy Reid.
Travis Kelce.
I just now saw that one. That's
a
PSA 7. That's exciting.
PSA 7. Yeah, I don't know what that means. It's probably not good. I don't know.
That's fun. I think graded cards are fun. I don't think you can be too I think you have to be really rich to be really precious about PSA 10s and stuff. I think graded cards are neat, but that's just me.
That's a good call. One of my favorite ones is the Chiefs Super Bowl ticket collection that there is out there. BJ's favorite one is the Chevy Chase signed Clark Griswold hockey jersey that we got. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Cool game. That's a pretty cool game. There's signed boxing gloves and poster from Mr. Tyson.
That's sweet, actually.
Yeah,
that might be that's very cool. What the heck?
It's pretty cool. Keanu Reeves signed Matrix poster. Michael B. Jordan signed Creed poster. There's obviously the Taylor Swift signed poster and vinyl. You get $1,000.
You can't say obviously. That's crazy.
Yeah, obviously there is. Obviously Taylor Swift. We had to get a Taylor Swift thing in there. $1,000 credit to tickets for less. Holiday Distillery Bourbon Pack, Capital Grill gift card, Tacos for Life gift card as well. We'll have more. I think more presents are going to be more prizes, I should say, will be announced. But get in on that. You can go to givebutter.com/KCSN Soul Venmo at KC Sports Network. You can purchase those tickets through the 4th. As I mentioned, one ticket $10, 5 for $25, 15 for $50, or 100 big ones. You get 50 tickets plus a 1-year paid subscription to KCSN.com. I guess if you already have like a paid subscription, you could do it. Could be like a gifted sub, right? Like you could gift a sub, and you can give us your random coworker's email to put on the list, and we'll give them. You have to.
You know what? Can I upsell this for you, Tucker? Can I make this useful for real?
Sure.
Everybody knows somebody who loves the Chiefs but doesn't really know what's going on. And I don't even mean that judgmentally. Everybody comes on at different times. Everybody comes on at different speeds. Everybody knows a passionate Chiefs fan that wouldn't know ball if it hit him in the face. So hit him in the face with ball and hey, you know what? I thought of you. I saw this and I thought of you. Here's KC Sports Network. Let these brilliant minds explain to you why Patrick Mahomes is good at football. That's a bad example. Your friend probably knows that already.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does need to know.
There you go.
There's plenty of people out there that think Bo Nix is just as good as Patrick Mahomes.
This is a hell of a list, by the way, of for the raffle prize that you just ran through. The only one I'm confused about is why Michael Jordan signed a Creed Humphrey poster. That's confusing. But other than that, very cool.
It's a great question.
Do you think I could get Michael Jeffrey Jordan to sign a photo of Creed Humphrey for the most niche, least helpful raffle prize of all time?
Right. Yeah. Maybe
Worth a
you
shot.
could. Yeah. Look, the only thing stopping you is no, right? I mean, like that's the worst you can say, right? Is no.
The look of confusion would be worth the effort, I think. Like, hey, could you sign this photo of Chiefs center Creed Humphrey?
I do always love like celebrities signing random things. Like that is very funny. They're just like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll sign this. Like some are really cool about it, some are obviously not really cool about it. But like the ones that are really cool about it are incredible.
Yeah, I think having weird signatures is also high on my list of like that's more fun than it's just a bizarre. It's like the glove with the punch out thing. Like that kind of hit.
Yeah.
I've got it. It's not signed obviously, but I have a pre-renovation Chiefs seat back, Arrowhead seat back on my wall over here. And it's one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia because I have a seat back hanging on my wall.
That's pretty sick.
It's so weird too. Like it's so strange. It's number 15 one, the whole deal. I mean, come on.
It's like Randy Jackson signed samurai sword from Step Brothers.
Yeah, so another one of these movies that I haven't seen, but a lot of people have, and a lot of people, when I say that, they're like, how have you not seen it? And like, I don't really know. I don't have a good answer. I was probably because I was watching Thursday Night Football. I don't know.
He has a Randy Jackson signed samurai sword because it's the only thing he had on him at the time.
That's awesome. I think
Hilarious.
we should live that life. Look, if you can get yourself a jersey or a mini helmet or something, that's amazing. But if all you got on you is a samurai sword, and Creed Humphrey and Michael Jordan are there, better to have him sign it than not.
Right. That's what I'm saying. What are you going to do? Knock at his autograph? You know?
Exactly. By the way, on the injury front, we had so many good segues in there. I didn't mention the fact that Xavier Worthy was limited with an ankle today. Keeping an eye on it. Yeah. Keeping an eye out. Noticing that. Aware of that. Not panicking. Aware of it. He hadn't been on the injury report with either the shoulder or the ankle for a little bit. I don't know if Nate asked Andy or there was something, maybe Nate just mentioned offhand. There was something like, hey, like Xavier doesn't want to be on the injury report anymore. So like he's a full participant and we're working him through it. And so there you go. He had no designation on Wednesday. So presumably something either happened during practice today or maybe something flared up a little bit on him after Wednesday's practice that had him be limited today. But keeping an eye on that because that's not ideal. Juwan Taylor, full participant, and Josh Simmons, full participant.
Yeah.
Still no commitment on who's starting at left tackle, but that's the latest there. Meanwhile, Pat Surtain has not practiced this week. Alex Singleton had testicular cancer surgery, so he's not practicing nor playing in this game. He's just on the report as illness DNP. Feels like an understatement, but that's
right.
That's an official designation, so fair enough. And J.K. Dobbins has not practiced this week. It seems unlikely that he would be able to go. Again, we're talking about Pacheco with the same designations there. So plenty of injuries on the Broncos front. I do want to spend a second talking about Colin Saunders. Yes. Also, a bit of a surprise, just because I can't say that I've been following him terribly closely. Juan Thornhill also back out on the market. I'll give you my take on both of those guys. I'm going to kind of go in reverse order here. I really like Juan Thornhill. He seemed like a great dude. He was a great press conference chat. He played some excellent football here. I don't think the Chiefs have a need in a way that, I don't know that the Chiefs make sense for Juan Thornhill as much as I don't know that Thornhill makes sense for the Chiefs right now. They've got a pretty young group, and if you told me in the offseason that they rekindled their flame a little bit, and Brian Cook is perhaps going elsewhere, or they're doing whatever they need to do to kind of bring him back as a veteran presence or something, I wouldn't be in any way bothered by that. I just don't think it makes a ton of sense.
Right.
On the Colin Saunders front, I do think it's fair to remind each other that NFL teams are not in the business of cutting good football players for no reason. And Colin Saunders, unless I missed something last week, which I don't think I did, he appeared in one game for the Jacksonville Jaguars since they traded for him during the preseason, or right around cutdowns. Mm-hmm. You need to have your expectations at a proper place there, but also Mike Pennell was a legitimate difference maker for this team, and I think he is again now because you're setting that floor at a certain level, at a certain rung. The Chiefs traded for Derek Nottie, who was probably going to be cut by the Jets, and I don't know how the Chiefs found the value in making that move, but they went aggressive to bring Derek Nottie back to bolster that rotation. That happens before Omar Norman-Lott gets hurt. Mike Pennell comes back after Omar is put on IR. I think it makes all the sense in the world to have Colin Saunders in the mix because it's very unlikely that your entire defensive tackle group is going to stay healthy the rest of the season. He does presumably know enough about Spags' defense to step back in and get right into the swing of things there. I don't think he's raising the ceiling in all likelihood. I cannot tell you that I went back and rewatched all of his snaps in New Orleans and then his much fewer snaps in Jacksonville. But I do still think a reunion there makes sense because it is such a position of need for the Chiefs, and Saunders is available after the deadline.
I think that says a lot about the Chiefs' defensive tackle room. The fact that there's a guy that can be cut and immediately elevate two guys. Yeah, two guys. Very great point.
And Derek Nottie was kind of three.
Yeah, but they said, don't cut him. We'll give you a 6 for him.
We'll do a little conditional slippy swap. Yeah,
we'll give you a 6 for him. Don't worry about it. Don't cut him.
I interrupted you because I agreed with your point so hard.
I appreciate it. You brought up the Juan Thornhill thing. I think, yes, in short, I agree with you. Saunders is more of a fit, makes more of a fit sense than Thornhill does. They do not have that open practice squad spot anymore. They signed Jimmy Holiday. So Jimmy Holiday
missed that.
Is on. Yes, I did too. Shout out to the chat. They reminded me during the stream that Jimmy Holiday was signed to the practice squad. Looking at his stats here, Juan Thornhill, as in his 7 games for the Steelers this year. Steelers defense that has not been good. He only started in 1 game for him, played 62% of the snaps. When I was looking at his, where's that at? Oh, yes, yards allowed. 139 yards allowed. He's been targeted 12 times and has allowed 10 receptions. Now, as a free safety, it's kind of tough sometimes with a lot of this, but this is from Next Gen Stats. The passer rating allowed 114.9 this year. That would be on track to be his highest. In Cleveland in 2023, he had 119.6, but so it was pretty darn close. No touchdowns over him, and he hasn't had an interception this year, though, at all. So, he has had no pressures this year as well either. I mean, he's at least had a decent amount of pressures in his previous years. So the way that Pittsburgh was using him was not the way he'd been used in the past.
Right. And so I hear the argument like, oh yeah, give him to Spags. he'll figure it out. Like he used him better than Pittsburgh did. So that's my argument. If it happens, cool. Happy to have him back. Glad that the Chiefs saw there's some sort of value there. Colin Saunders, it feels like it's like this should be a matter of a plane ticket.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Jones wanted him. Like, Chris Jones playing D-line GM is basically what he's been doing so far this year. He said, bring my dog back or something like that. Bring my dog home. Yeah, Juan Thornhill's also 30 years old. I didn't realize he was that old. But
hey, listen, that's 30 is old. Who said 30s? Who said 30 is old? I've woken up twice in the last week with a very, very sore lower back on 2 different sides. So I mean, it's rough out here. So there you go. I think Tucker and I are in the same place. Thornhill, I don't think makes a lot of sense. If it happens, fine. Saunders makes some sense, but that is indicative of defensive tackle issues that we've been talking about since conservatively April,
right.
March,
yes.
Maybe. I don't know. Let's hop back into Chiefs Broncos here. Where you and I are getting darn close to an hour here, and we have not put a bow on Chiefs Broncos yet. I'll tell you what though, if you're loving this and you're thinking, man, I'd love more Josh and Tucker, good news. Tomorrow at noon, Mondays and Fridays, if everything else with me and Tucker. And then Tucker's solo for KCSN Live, noon to 1, the other 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, middle of the week. So we'll go more into some of these things probably as well on tomorrow's show. I think the biggest question I have for the Chiefs and from the Chiefs' perspective in this game is what's the tweak for the Chiefs' offense? And this is another place where I understand rampant pessimism, but I'm here to offer a bit of either optimism or at least just like the hot take incubator thing. I'm here to remind you of how we felt 3 weeks ago, really 2 weeks ago from today. We were talking about a Chiefs offense that had put up 30 on the Lions, 31 on the Raiders in 3 quarters, 28 on the Commanders. This was and not that any of those, not that the Raiders or Commanders have anything to write home about defensively. The Lions had injuries, but I thought at the time and still think now that the actual performance does matter there. I am very curious, though, after we saw so much seem disjointed offensively against Buffalo, what is the pivot against the Broncos? Or what's the adjustment after the bye? Is anything noticeably different about this Chiefs offense after the Broncos game than how we felt about it after the Bills game? I've got a couple places I'm interested to poke around. Tucker, what stands out to you?
This is the side of the ball that is the most intriguing, right? This is when the Chiefs have the football and the Broncos defense is on the field. That's going to be, I think, when you lean forward in your seat, right? Like that's going to be the meme of, all right, now I really got to pay attention to what's going on here. I've been looking at some of the numbers when it comes to how good the Broncos defense has been in coverage and them not having Pat Surtain, like Pat Surtain not practicing, like that can kind of affect a lot of things. Truthfully, when you look at Pat Surtain, what the Broncos have done coverage-wise without Pat Surtain, like that is a very good corner, right? Probably the best cornerback in the National Football League. In their first game without Pat Surtain, this is via the Next Gen Stats on NFL Pro. This is against Houston. The Broncos played man coverage on a season low 27.7% of their dropbacks. Wow. The Broncos have played more man coverage with Surtain on the field than off the field. With him on the field, the Broncos have played man coverage on 44.2% of dropbacks compared to 33.3% when he's off the field. Clearly a very good man coverage corner, so you're going to play man with your good corners out there. And with how good their pass rush is, that makes sense that they want to play a little bit more man. You know, they have Nick Bonito is 21.7% in terms of pass rush success, right? And Jonathan Cooper's 18.1. That's his fifth. That's fifth for Cooper, first in the NFL for Bonito. So they have an incredible front that will get after you. They will have coverages that are sticky, but without Pat Surtain, they're going to be playing a lot more zone. What we saw from the Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills is they struggled with the zone coverage, which is kind of bizarre and odd because we usually don't see that out of a Chiefs offense. I think someone speculated on the KC Lab on Wednesday that maybe they were purposely showing that they were bad against zone, so the Broncos would play more zone against them. I don't know if it goes that deep, but this matchup is going to be really interesting from a Chiefs point of view because these quarterbacks both are pressured. Let me see this here. I think I saw their pressure rate is also very similar in terms of where they've had. Yeah, their quarterback pressure rate 25.7% for Patrick Mahomes is 32nd in the National Football League, and Bo Nix is 26, is 31st. I don't think the Chiefs defense is really gonna move that one in a whole lot, but. The offensive line is going to be obviously a big key in this one with the pass rush and everything like that. But as we mentioned, Singleton, he has an injury. They're going to be relying on backup linebackers, interior linebackers. So what that brings up is you're going to have those backup linebackers on presumably tight ends, running backs. This could be a really good game for the screen game.
I want to talk about Brashard Smith so bad, but I feel like I just swore off of it 20 minutes ago.
So in those situations, yeah, we did just talk about that. In those situations where they're going to be running man coverage, they have to be advantageous and take advantage of man coverage because they have the advantage in man coverage situations. I think the Broncos will probably come out there and play a lot of zone just because they don't have their best man coverage guy, right. And the Chiefs do. They're not dumb. Like, they know that Vance Joseph knows that, like, the Chiefs probably match up better with them one-on-one when it comes down to it. Riley Moss has had a really good year. But, look, I mean, they don't have 4 different Riley Mosses out there when it comes down to it. So, I'm going to be interested to see kind of the cat and mouse game there with the Chiefs offense, with the defense, of how they end up playing it. If they do play a lot of zone, how much... They probably won't have to blitz all that much, right? So they can probably put a little bit more back in there. The Chiefs are going to have to probably eat over the middle of the field a little bit, especially if it's zone coverage, just with the backup linebackers and everything like that. That's kind of what I'm looking for in that cat and mouse game when it comes for the offense and how the offense can tweak from that Buffalo, that bye week. They had a full week now to put in a game plan. We know that the whole Andy Reid after the bye week trope, it's been played out a lot, and he is very good at that. Now it just depends on, did he have the GAs from the University of Phoenix online do this game plan like he had against Buffalo, or did he do this game plan? And I think that's still left to be seen, but matchup-wise and schematically, I feel like the Chiefs are actually in a really good spot against this Broncos team.
And it's a very good Broncos defense, especially when it's healthy. But I think that's a reasonable takeaway going like positionally the way that you did. I do want to mention Brashard Smith, not as the runner, but in your breakdown there, like if you have him catching passes out of the backfield or you're building a screen game out of him, at some point, I think that has to still be the main plan for his usage here, because he stayed involved in the offense, but they haven't revealed what his thing is. They haven't spammed Brashard Smith at any point. Maybe this is the game to do it. I would have liked to have seen that be the plan against Buffalo a little bit, though.
Right.
Like Rashee Rice in that game, still baffling to me. He had 4 catches, 7 targets, but 4 catches for Rashee Rice in a game against Buffalo that felt like he should have been the featured player. If you do get a bunch of short-handed zone from the Broncos on Sunday, let it be Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. And if it needs to be Noah Gray against linebackers, if it needs to be Brashard Smith against linebackers, I'm comfortable leaning on whoever that may be. I think the Worthy injury just makes you raise an eyebrow, and we haven't seen consistency from Hollywood Brown to this point. Mm-hmm. And you know, I think like Juju is the guy that he is at this point, and that's very, very valuable. I'm not going to hold my breath for more Tyquan Thornton snaps, even though I think he's deserving of more of those. All that to say, though, I feel like they do have weapons. I'm very curious to see if any one of those players or anything that the Chiefs roll out as plan A, I wonder if any of that is the alpha player or the alpha game plan of this game. Is there someone that this is built around? And if not, I think that means it's built around Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like, it was even kind of interesting listening to his press conference yesterday, talking about like, oh, so what do you look at during the bye week? So, you know, I'm trying to make. He didn't say the word pressing, but I think he talked about that deep interception on 3rd down and talked about like calming himself down in some of those moments. I don't know if that's not a direct quote, but it's very close to what he said. A light paraphrase. I thought that was kind of interesting, and it, again, to me, like repeats over and over and over again the conversation we've had about like, can you just take a little bit of the burden off of Patrick Mahomes' shoulders a little more often? Last year, the answer was no, because his top weapons were hurt. This year, it's been largely no, even with Rashee Rice now back and Pacheco back some of the time. I would love for there to be. I'd love there to be a lead, a front foot punch, however you want to set that up, to say this is the thing that we're going to go in trying to do in this game that maybe keeps Patrick Mahomes from having to do everything offensively. And look, man, it's only weird games. We started late and we're going over an hour. I'm just going to throw this out there on the Bo Nix front. And then you can talk whatever Bo Nix mess you need to. You can hear more of us tomorrow. You can hear Tucker with Matt Verderam on That Football Show, a show that does not own a Bo Nix jersey between the two of them, I don't believe. Here's what I'll say about Bo Nix. If I'm saying something that sounds like a compliment, you got to try.
Is it just me? Oh no. That's awkward. The Bo Leavers took him out, chat. The Bo Leavers just took Josh out. He already said that he was already talking mess on Bo Nix, and they came and they took him out. Unfortunate. But here's the thing, chat. Let me tell you a little bit of something about Bo Nix. If you guys were on That Football Show, and if you were on last week's show, you know that like Bo Nix, his stats against when he's blitzed are are better than when he is not blitzed. That is a very uncommon thing when it comes to teams in the quarterbacks, period, in the National Football League. He's a very interesting player because I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I see Broncos fans trying to convince themselves every day that Bo Nix is the quarterback that they want him to be, and Bo Nix is the quarterback that he needs to be. What I will say about Bo Nix, entering this week, he has been sacked on just 10% of his pressure dropbacks. That's the lowest among quarterbacks to have that, and he's been pressured on just over a quarter of his dropbacks, 26, the third lowest pressure rate in the league. I talked about he's not pressured a whole lot, but it is one of those things where, Josh, I mean, I tried to stave him off.
I said,
you know?
I'm going to say something about Bo Nix, and then my Wi-Fi crashed.
They got you. They didn't want the Bo Leavers didn't want you to say anything bad about Bo Nix.
I mean, this is the price I pay for trying to be a truth teller. There's no reason for this show to continue. I appreciate you so much for not just immediately ending stream, because I would have had every instinct to do that if I was you.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. How funny it would have been if the show just like ended. Like, the thing about Bo Nix is, boom, show done. Take you into the weekend.
Talk to you on Tuesday.
So good.
Well, we did over an hour, and we did it with me and Tucker, and then my computer quit in protest when I tried to talk about Bo Nix. What was the last thing you heard from me, Tucker? I'll give you the rest of my sentence, and then we're going to end this cursed episode.
You said this is going to sound like a compliment, but you have to try, and then you were
perfect.
Gone
okay, never mind. That's what I want. No, why did my screen just go black again? My screen's gone black twice. I thought it was just the screen last time. It just did it again.
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear
Great.
me?
Yeah, no, I'm back. I see it again.
Okay.
My screen went black the first time, and I went, oh, poof, I thought my internet got cut by the Bo Leavers. And the internet had gone down, and then I reconnected. I just wanted to say you have to try against Bo Nix. That's fine. If that's my final word on Only Weird Games before Chiefs Broncos, is that you have to try against Bo Nix, I'm comfortable with that. That's my final thought. Tucker, why don't you get us out of here? Certainly you deserve to do a little more work.
I think that the Chiefs win this football game 37-3.
Yeah! Great stuff, Tucker. Oh, it says a new device has joined my network. Yeah, it's because the whole network went down mid-podcast.